Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, John Cena, and today we're going to be doing a clan versus clan battle. I'm going to be the green player, and my ally, Kinezul, is going to be the blue player. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to get some early game scouting in, just to try and grab those containers. We're going to be facing up against the Glory clan in this matchup, so we'll see how that plays out. Look like we got some riflemen coming in to take out that assault, and we got some other engagements happening around the map as we kind of fight for that early game control. Looks like we got some more assaults moving in. Kinezul is going to mark an area on the map. We can see on the mini-map that there are 2 yellow arrows, which is going to indicate that that's going to be a future drop point for some of those big resource containers. So we're going to go ahead and try to see if we can fight for that. So as we can see here, both the large resource containers are spawning in. I'm going to put my assaults on a hold stance in the radius of the container to see if I can hold it down, and I'm going to throw on a red scout boost to see if I can capture it a little bit quicker. Meanwhile, Kinezul and I are continuing to put down our infrastructure. Just finished capturing the large container. Here comes a coyote though from the yellow player. That is not going to be enough though. I've got 4 assaults and they're going to be able to clean up that coyote very nicely. Kinezul's got a lot of assaults on the map right now, so no problem for him to capture the containers as well. Meanwhile, Kinezul and I both have deltas out. We're going to go ahead and grab some of those naval containers just so we can continue to get resources for base development. And I just flag a spot just to let Kinezul know that there's a group of riflemen there. So here come my assaults now. And we're getting a nice scout onto the yellow player's base. And look at this. Yellow is only HQ2 at this stage of the battle. And it looks like they got a coyote coming out. Looks like they got an avia factory down. So we might see some dragonflies and or hawks come into play later on in the game. But overall, looks like we are definitely ahead in terms of development. So let's go and see if we can try to check out what the red player has. And that'll give us an overall idea of what we're up against. So meanwhile, I'm HQ3 already, and we see a little bit of engagement there from the Deltas and a Cayman. I'm already starting to upgrade my Avia factory to get some Vertex out. It looks like Kinezul sends a message. He's going to go for a land vehicle build, so I'm going to go for an aviation build to support with Vertex. So we're getting a scout right now on the red player, and it looks like red is also still only HQ2, and so at this point, Kinezul and I feel pretty good about this battle and the outcome. Both of us are already HQ3 with unit production on the way, so we feel pretty good about our odds of taking on the Glory clan in this battle. Looks like we got a rifleman scouting out my base there, so looks like both resistance players know that I'm going to be going for some kind of aviation on the map. So this is an interesting play from Kinezul. He's got 3 deltas and some assaults moving in onto the map, and it looks like they're headed straight for that space between the red and yellow players' bases. So this might be a little bit of some pressure, maybe a light rush assault just to distract the players while Kinezul continues to build. Looks like Kinezul is going for an army composition of Zeus, Torrents, and Typhoons based on the upgrades that he's got. So Vertex coming in to get a scout on the yellow player. Looks like yellow's HQ3 now, starting to get an airfield down. Looks like red is also HQ3, going for an Avia factory. Looks like red's a little bit more behind on the development compared to yellow. Here comes Kinezul now. Kinezul's going to move onto the red player's base and is going to attack this Avia factory. So some early game pressure coming in. Let's see how the red player responds. Red's going to lose that Avia factory. That's going to be 250 resources. And now there is some pressure coming onto these buildings here. Construction yard, anti-air tower, and supply center coming under fire from Kinezul. And looks like red doesn't have a response so far. This is not looking good for red at all. Looks like there's a hawk coming in from the yellow player. Yellow's starting to get some aviation onto the battlefield. I'm going to go ahead and respond here by scrambling my Vertex just so I can get Kinezul some air support here. Kinezul is doing some good damage here so far, but he needs some anti-air in there, so here comes my Vertex. Vertex coming in, they're going to score a nice hit on the hawk, and let's see if we can get another hit on the Hawk, and yes, we can score a second hit on the Hawk, and that Hawk is taking some heavy damage from the Vertex. Here comes a second Hawk from the yellow player. That Hawk's going to go down, but so is my Vertex. I'm going to go ahead and pull back my Vertex. I've only got one Vertex left. Meanwhile, here comes some Vikings from kinezul. Kinezul is doing a full army push onto the red player. This is a rolling rush from kinezul, and red has no response. Yellow desperately trying to thin out the units with the Hawks. Meanwhile, kinezul's destroyers have moved in, and they're just going to rain fire on that assault vehicle factory. These assaults are dishing out some good damage onto the infrastructure of red. I'm going to go ahead and bring a Vertex back into the play. We got a Typhoon and a Vertex here. My Vertex is going to score a hit on the Hawk, and I'm going to pull back. Don't want to quite fly over the yellow player's base yet. Meanwhile, red's base is pretty much finished off. All they have are a couple barracks and some infrastructure. Here come Hawks, though, from the yellow player. Yellow trying to continue and support the red player in the defense, but looks like kinezul's got some units headed towards the yellow player's base. Yellow is going to be able to snipe that Typhoon, and so kinezul right now doesn't have any strong anti-air to support. So I'm going to go ahead, scramble my Vertex again. Vertex are coming back into the fold, and looks like kinezul is now moving the bulk of his ground army towards the yellow player's base. Here come my Vertex, though, and let's see what we can take out. We see a Jaguar from the yellow player, so we got some heavy armor coming in. I'm going to go ahead and score a nice hit on the Jaguar, and I'm going to be able to finish off that Jaguar no problem. I'm going to go ahead and now pull my Vertex back, and kinezul is free to continue advancing on the yellow player's base. So you can see here, I'm throwing on a bunch of infantry boosts, and that is just to fulfill a contract. At this point in the battle, we know it's pretty much good game for the most part. It's basically a 2v1, and kinezul is a very solid player as well, so I don't see us having any big problems taking out the yellow player. Here comes some Hawks from the yellow player. Yellow's got 4 Hawks, and I'm going to have to scramble my Vertex here pretty soon to counter. kinezul's got a pretty sizable ground army and is continuing to put some pressure on the yellow player, so I'm going to scramble my Vertex now. Let's see what kind of damage we can do to these Hawks. Vertex coming in now. They score a huge hit on the Hawks. Hawks are going down. We're going to score another hit on the Hawks. Another Hawk goes down, and we're going to snipe a third Hawk off the airfield. So a lot of casualties for the yellow player. I'm going to take some casualties here too. I'm going to take out an anti-air tower though, and we're going to score some more hits onto the ground army. Can't quite finish off that anti-air tower. I'm going to pull back my Vertex and continue with producing some more. Meanwhile, ground army from kinezul continuing to move in onto the yellow player's base. It's going to be assaults and a couple Zeus and Torrents and a Typhoon against some Jaguars, infantry, and a sniper tower. And we can see that our armies are slowly but surely chipping away at the yellow player's base. We don't have a ton of ground forces here, but also it's not going to take us a lot of forces for us to break yellow at this point. So 3 Jaguars firing onto the Zeus. These 3 Jaguars have some nice spread out positioning. They're going to be able to clean up that Zeus. And here come my Vertex though. And I'm going to score a huge hit onto the HQ. So my plan here is to take out the HQ, deny unit production for the yellow player, and then kinezul would be able to finish off the yellow player. HQ goes down, and I'm going to swing my Vertex around, and we're going to score another hit on a Hawk. We see another Hawk go down as well, so looks like yellow is pretty much out of Hawks at this point. I've got 2 Zeus tanks moving in onto the yellow player's base. Here comes some Jaguars though. They're going to deploy in front of that assault vehicle factory. It's going to be 2 Zeus tanks against 3 Jaguars. I'm going to be able to clean up a couple of these Jaguars though, but they were able to bring in a 4th Jaguar, so I'm going to lose my Zeus tanks there, but it's all good. Meanwhile, kinezul flags the map and tells me that there is a redeploy of an HQ from the red player, but it's probably not going to be able to do much seeing that red doesn't have some infrastructure to go with it. Meanwhile, these Jaguars though, continuing to fight from the yellow player. Yellow's going to be able to clean up those 2 Torrents from Kinezul, and Kinezul's got a bunch of Typhoons that are kind of scattered around. Not exactly ideal for fighting against Jaguars, but Kinezul's bringing in some infantry and Zeus tanks and Torrents. Here come my Vertex though, and we're just going to put some more fire onto the Yellow player's base. And this time I'm going to focus down the anti-air towers. So Yellow's going to lose 2 anti-air towers, and Yellow's going to lose 3 anti-air towers. And we're going to hit the HQ now. Looks like Yellow is now self-destructing their own base. It is good game, and the Yellow player knows it. I'm going to swing my Vertex back up towards the top of the map, and we're going to take out Red's infrastructure. I'm going to be able to clean up a power plant and a construction yard there before I pull my Vertex back. And meanwhile, Kinezul is going to move his ground army up towards the Red players, remnants of the base, and we're going to be able to clean up this last little bit here with 3 Vertex and Kinezul's ground army. Alright, so that's pretty much the end of this battle. Hopefully you all enjoyed the coordination between Kinezul and I, and we will see you in the next one.
Victory.